We mentioned last week, maybe tricky for Benjamin, but we mentioned last week, remember we were talking about the mikveh, how it came up here because it was the same people. Remember, we had Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda Rav, and often happens in Gemaras. We have the same person and the same person asking a question. So we have a run of various examples and cases where we have the same names. And we mentioned about the mikveh. Now, Peter, with his mathematical background, was keen to try and work out the size of a mikveh based on what we were talking about last week. Do you remember? We spoke about the 40 so'or of a mikveh, and we spoke about Kiddush cups. So if we can call upon Peter, let's try and work through this. So if I can call upon you, Peter, here we go. Oh, wow, that's whoa, well ahead of the game there. Volume, there you are, a beitza, a lug, a cup, a son, an ephah. Excellent. It's exactly what we want. What have you got on top there? How big is a mikveh? There you go. 6th of March. Kiddush cup, revius. Yes. Here we go. Right. So those are the 5 items we need. A beitza, a lug, kav, sor, ephah. Okay, and we will go from one to the other and try and remember the numbers that go from one to the other. But there is if you can do this at the same time, about the same time, or hold on to that for a minute, and let's go to the Sedra of Bishalach. So we're going now to Shemos. When it talks about the Mon, so Tanakh. Oh, we got Tanakh down there. There you go. You got Tanakh down. Well, you might as well take the whole screen up. Yeah, very good. Let's go to Tanakh. Let's go to Exodus. Let's go to chapter. It's the last posuk of 16. So let's go to 17 and scroll back. Oh, okay, you can do it that way. I will go. No, go back and go. All right, no, you're there. It's posuk 36. So it doesn't take long. 32, 4, there we go. 36, there it is. When it's talking about the Mon, it says it was the size of an omer. And then at the last pasuk, it says, it's talking about the manna, and it says the omer is 1/10 of an ephah. An omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Okay. Now, no, sorry, I haven't finished yet. Sorry, scroll. If you finish, complete the screen. Now, there you go. Now, double click on that, and let's have a look at Rashi. And let's have a look at Rashi in Hebrew, first of all. So just press the Aleph.
1 second, please.
Okay.
Simon Laurie is your name.
Oh, good. Go to the Aleph. Good. Just to bring people on board, we are going through the calculations as Peter sent me a note, and I think this will be useful exercise. So there we are. We're talking about the Mon, and it talks about an omer. Remember, they took an omer. An omer was 1/10 of an ephah. Now, what's useful is Rashi here, who tells us moves from one to the other. An ephah is 3 sor, or se'in, the plural of a sor, se'in. The sa'or is 6 kav, and the kav is 4 lugin, and lugin is 6 beitzah. So if you multiply all that together, 3 times 6 times 4 times 6, going from a beitzah to an ephah, and I think somebody will shout out, And the answer is, we're trying to go from an aphor down to a beitzah. How many beitzim make an aphor? Again, aphor is 3 saw, one's a 6 saw, a kav. A kav down to a lug is 4, a lug down to a beitzah 6. In other words, 6 beitzim make a lug. So if you multiply all those together, 6 times 4 times 6 times 3, which will give you, somebody can shout out, 432. Thank you very much. So a tenth of that will be 43 and a fifth. And that's what Rashi writes at the end. The aphor is therefore nimtza asiris hu aphor, a tenth of an aphor is 43 beitzim and a fifth of a beitzah. And that is the shear required for challah. Okay, that's all we need here. So we've got that Rashi. If you remember those numbers, 6, 4, 6, again, no, 3 saw in an aphor, 6 kav in a saw, 4, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6. So if we can now go back to Peter's chart and we can put those numbers in. Right, so now the numbers, we can put the numbers underneath, if you like, between. Let's go from, well, we knew April. Let's go underneath there. Yeah, about there where you're a bit, no, in between. Yeah, about there, around there. Let's have number 6. No, 3. That's the number we want. Can we have a bit larger, or like a lot larger? Can we make just the 3 very large? Okay, a bit larger still. Yes. Now, the next one, going from saw to cub, in between that, what number do we want? We want the number 6. Again, let's go up to the same size. We have 28. That's good. Actually, it's larger than the 3, isn't it? No, maybe not. Here we want a number 4. And we're going to blow that up as well.
Oh.
Whoop, not quite.
Give me a, sorry for that.
Yes, and the first one is going to be another 6. Yes. So from a beitzah to a lug is 6. 4 lug make a kav. 6 kav make a saw. 3 saw make an aphor. Right? Now, the way I remember this, I remember learning with my nephew many, many years ago. It just shows you how long ago it was. Do people remember old telephone numbers like Speedwell and Hendon?
Yes,
and
Hendon, yes.
And what was it? Central London, Whitehall, WHI, wasn't it?
Yes.
Right. So there were numbers like, I remember Speedwell 80N98 or something. The way we learned this was Blackso. If you write this down somewhere, Blackso.
Blackso? Yeah,
very funny word. BLKSE, Blackso. That's where I remember it. Beitzah, Lug, Kav, S for saw. Actually, it's A4, so we had Blackso, O for A4. I don't know why O, but anyway. E you can have, go on, blow, if you blow that up, Blackso.
Oh, Peter.
What? Blackso, Blacksea. Yes, and then put next to it 6463. Blow that up. And that was like the phone number we did in those days.
Yeah.
Yes. Blackso, or BLKSE, Blacksea 6463. It was like a phone number. And that was the way we remembered it, which means those numbers go between the Beitza and the Lug, the 4 between the Lug and the Kav, 6 from a Kav to a Saw, 3 from a Saw to an Aphor. Are people happy so far? Yes, hope so. So there you are. You got your eggs and everything else. 6463. Now, what we need is 40 saw. So we actually don't have to go to the Aphor. We've got to get to 40 saw because the size of a mikveh is 40 saw. So you can write the number 40 further down. Okay, wherever you like. That's fine. 40. We want 40 saw. Perhaps underneath the, directly underneath the saw, maybe. Can we move it along? Oh, it doesn't matter terribly. 40 saw, that's all right. 40 saw. Yeah, go for that. Very good. We need 40 saw. Perhaps that 432 will move across to right next to the word A4. Well, you've got the 3 there. Refer just up, up. Yeah, just take it up to
5,760 Beitza.
Ah, there's your 432. So again, 432. We can take that 432 in red away now, I suppose. Should we remove that 432 in red? Don't need it anymore. Just delete that. Good. So there's your 432, which is 6 times 4 times 6 times 3. Correct? That's an A4. That's just, we don't really need that. What we really need is the 40, which is the saw. So someone's already shouted out. So can we go from lug to saw? Well, it's quite easy. There's your 6463, got Blacksea. Blacksea 6463. We only need the 4 and the 6, don't we? How many lug in a saw? 24. Correct? So 24 times 4 is how much?
96.
Right, thank you. 24 times 40, sorry.
960.
Right, so let's have 960 underneath that 4. Wherever you like. What's going on there? It's going to be too big, is it? Oh, 90, yes. So yeah, fair enough. It's 40 times 24.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, is that right? 40 saw and 24. So it's 40, perhaps a little X to show you're doing your calculations here. 40 times 24. Let's have a little X next to the 24, a bit higher. Or next to that number 24 with an X. No, yeah, that's right. Just move it across to the somewhere. It could be right next to the number 24. We put it in the. Okay, fair enough. 40 times 24 will be not so very good. We now have 960 lug making up a saw. Now, as we mentioned last week, when we have a Kiddush cup, the Kiddush cup is called a revius. It's a quarter. The amount you have in a Kiddush cup. The amount you have in a Kiddush cup is a quarter of a lug. Right? Now, we know a Kiddush cup. There, you drop down now to your Kiddush cup. Your Kiddush cup, put it under the lug. Your Kiddush, under lug, it should say a quarter. Can we write a quarter there? Oh, 1/4 will be nice. Go into numbers. Can we do 1/4 instead of the word quarter? Oh, it doesn't matter terribly, but 1/4. Yeah, that's good. And that sits under a Kiddush cup is a quarter of a lug. Excellent. Now, therefore, and we also know that's called a revius. You've got that word there, Kiddush cup. Underneath that, it says revius. A revius, it means a revius, a quarter of a lug. So far, so good. Now, we also know, as mentioned, we talk about Kiddush cup, in fact, which way round you go, but there are two views what a revius is, and that's important for Seder night too. The minimum revius, very good, let's have, is 86 cc's, which is actually the same gematria as Kois, Chof Vov Samach. So let's, underneath the what number quarter, let's have 86. Doing a great job here. No, that's it. Yeah, let's delete that one. Oh, okay. CC 86, or underneath there is another view. That's that. Right, 86 is what's called Chaim No'eh. There's another way to calculate it, and that comes up much more, 150 actually. That's quite a nice sized Kiddush cup. Not terribly large, but if you're buying someone a nice Kiddush cup, that's 150. Also CCs. In CC, that will be the same. Copy below. Excellent. Doing great job here. Oh, I think Peter's no doubt enjoying this. So there we are. A Kiddush cup, which we said was a quarter of a lug, is either 86 cc, 150 cc, depending on what time. There are two views, but not less than 86 cc's. That is very important, especially coming up to Seder night. People around the table, with a little a thimble for a Kiddush cup is really not on. It should be 86 or 150. Doesn't mean to say you have to drink the whole cup. You should drink the majority of the cup for Seder night. But I mean, it's nice if it's wine. Otherwise, a mixture of wine and grape juice. Otherwise, just grape juice. But most important is people drink the majority of a cup. So if you don't really want, 15%. Or whatever alcohol, drop it down. There's some smaller percentages of alcohol content depending on your palate. So that you want 86 or 150. Now that we've said 960 lug make 40 saw. Although the 86 have been rounded, it doesn't matter. Gives us a good feel. So, therefore, I see this is a number that Malcolm mentioned.
No, I'm going to say that the mikveh has to be between 344 liters or something, 300 liters and about 600 liters or something. According to your.
Oh, good. Well done there. 86 times 960. What does that give you? Is that the number you mentioned?
No, I wasn't. I was doing it by head. Sorry.
Oh, in your head. Whoa, that's impressive. 86 times 960. Drop it down. How much you get for that? 86 times 960.
About 9656 or something. What?
That's in cc's. 960 times 86. Yep.
We've gone completely wrong here. 96. We need 96. Woo. Now just 1 minute. There's a number missing, isn't there?
Yeah.
What's that? So it's true. You've moved from a lug, but don't forget that.
That's a quarter lug. It's a quarter lug. It's a quarter lug.
You need to multiply that by 4.
By 344.
You need to divide it by 4.
No, multiply
no.
960 times 344.
960 times 86, because 86 is only a quarter of a lug. And we said they're 960 lug, but we need 86 is only a quarter. You with me? Ah, there you go. So about 330 liter, correct? So no. Whoa. You've dropped the decimal place there. No, what's going on?
Sorry, it's my fault.
Yes. So drop that down to where it says the reveres of at 86, that number 330. On the same column, drop down the 330. Yes, that's where it should go. One up. Yes. There you are. Or 150 times 4 times 960. Correct? 150 times 4 will give you lug. Then times 960. How much is that?
It should be 5760, isn't it?
576. Very good. So blow that up. Well done. Or you put the decimal place in because it's in liters. Thank you. 576. So there we are, the minimum size mikveh, therefore. Are you happy with that, Peter?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
I think that's very good indeed. Either around 330 or maybe slightly more because the 86 has been rounded a bit, slightly more than the 86. So minimum, and there's it's not maximum, but the minimum is a 330. So you do want, and that is the minimum size of a mikveh. Yes, can blow that up a bit. Yes.
Oh,
Mikvah. Let's have it. So you take the K out. Mikvah. Minimum size of a mikvah. Excellent. Yeah. That's it. Brilliant. Brilliant. So what you need to remember is Blackso, that phone number, Blackso 6463, and that will tell you the 6, meaning you're going from Beitza to Lug. The 4 from going from a lug to a kav, the 3 going from another 6. Way to remember it. I don't. Is that the way you don't think you spell it like that? You? I don't think there's a U. There's no U in mnemonic. I think the U goes. See what it looks like without a U. Yeah, that's more like it, I think. Actually, yeah, BLK. Can we take that BLKSE and make capitals? B, capital B, L, capital B, L, S, E. That's it. Black Sea 6463. And the 6 goes between the Beitza and the Lug. And that's the way to remember, going right up to an Aphel. We haven't used an Aphel, we didn't need it. We got the 430, which was the Beitza, right across to the Aphel. You've got the 6463 on top. You've got the 40 saw for a mikveh. Actually, at the end, on the left-hand side, maybe underneath the volume measure, where you've got 40, perhaps just put mikveh down. No, where you've got Kiddush cup, go up there, where you've got on the same row where you've got 40, perhaps put the word mikveh. No, higher up, yeah. That's all right. Yes. Just have the word in the same font as the Kiddush cup, whatever font that was, or whatever size. Also 20. Yeah, they are mikveh. Excellent. That's it. Mikva's 40 saw. In lug is 960. Actually, we can take out now the 86 and the 3. Perhaps take out on the right-hand side, underneath the 960, take out those 2 numbers, the 86, because we've got it anyway. If you delete those 2.
I won't delete them. I'm going to make them very small because it's a calculation.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, all right. Fair enough. That's very good. Well, you've got them over there, of course. You've got them further down. Yeah. That I think, hopefully, is helpful to people. Yeah.
Oh, I should add liters.
Oh yes, you should do. Yeah, we've got CC there. Yeah, in liters. Yeah. Yes, very good. It's all CCs. It's all CC. VS 86 CC. Yeah, those numbers up there. Look, is 960. That was Bates up. Yeah, very good. 40 saw times 24. Why times 24? Because we're going to go down to a lug. So when you've got, there's your word lug, 960. Perfect. Then you've got a Kurdish cup, which is a quarter of a lug. Reverse, you got your 86, you got the 150. Remember, that was quite a very good. You had the gematria of Kais, Chof, Vob, Samach. Actually, you can put it next to the number 86. Can you use Hebrew letters?
I'll try.
Oh, otherwise, perhaps we're getting a bit too clever here. Oh, you got Beitza, yeah. Chof, Vov, and Samach. Oh, all right, fair enough. If not, you've got time. I just wanted to show it was a gematria of Chof, Vov, Samach.
Sorry for this. There we go. Half, Vov,
Samach. Yes, and then yes, and put Chos, and then in the number next to it, perhaps on the right, gematria or something, or in the same. I don't know. You can just write gematria, GEM or something, gematria, and then I think it's complete. Gematria, oh yeah, whatever, yeah, gematria. People know that stuff. Yes, GM. If people know what GM is, perhaps can we put gematria in full?
Yep, certainly.
Well, most people won't know what gematria is.
Peter, there's some background noise from someone. I think it's
maybe
Roberts.
Yeah, we've got somebody in the house. Hold on, I'll close the door.
Well, no, it's all right. We'll put people on mute in a minute. GEM.
Can I ask one general question?
Yes.
Is that the theory behind all these measurements? Is it all deraisa or is it all derabanan in terms of?
Oh yeah, no, there will be minatura.
So it's all minhatura.
Sorry, the numbers.
It's all minhatura.
The top part is the 40 saw. As we see, as serious or if it talks about the mon, it's meant to be the minimum size that a person can get, crouching in and just about manage. So that's what the size you need for a minimum mikveh. A mikveh would be much larger than that, but of course it could be connected. But what you really want is, as I say, it would be rainwater, spring water, but not drawn water. That's the point. So thank you very much. I think that was a useful exercise. I hope so. You might want to keep that. Good. Cheers to Peter. Well done there. Right, having said that, thank you. Let us move on with one more statement about mikvah. There's another rule. So many rules when it comes to mikvahs. Remember, with loads of well, of course, there's a whole masechta of mikvahs, and one chapter in Shulchan Aruch. Remember, we mentioned part of that last week. There's another rule about 3 so'or. Now, before we go any further, let's have a look, Peter, once again at the Gemara of Shabbos, and then we'll try and tackle this Gemara if we can. Gemara Shabbos 13a, no, 14b. Gemara Shabbos 14b. There's a Mishnah there. Am I right? Or 13b? Let's just see where we're up to. What have we got? Shabbat. Let's go for 14b. Let's go for 14b. Yeah, drop down, Gemara. Actually, I probably should go first of all. Yeah, drop me a bit more. Oh, this we actually don't need all this. Tell me no, a bit more. I'll show you. Yeah, the 18 rules actually drive you mad. Let's go back to 13. Keep coming down. There's a Mishnah there I want to show you. 13, keep going. 13. Torah Noflu Olov. My Keva. We'll drop more. Bit more. Bor Rosh Mama. Oh, that's the one we want. Bor Rosh Mamayim She'uvim. One of they made 18 decrees. That's in 14a. There's a Mishnah prior to that that's saying there were certain decrees that were made when they sat down, Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai. One of them was someone whose head, most of his body, into drawn water, as a person in drawn water will become tomei again, even if they went into a mikveh. By going into drawn water, they will become tomei again. And look at the reason why that was instituted, because of course they're not like today's luxurious mikvahs. In the old days they weren't that luxurious, and there were occasions when maybe the mikvahs weren't as clean as they would have liked, and therefore what people did subsequently after going to the mikvah, they would have a good they would pour normal water, drawn water upon themselves after going to the mikvah. People, to clean themselves after going to the mikvah, in case it wasn't as clean as they would have liked, they would use normal water, pouring them upon themselves. Now, hischilu, people started ba'aso'um keva, and they started thinking, oh, it's not the mikvah which is important, it's having a shower, having a bath. That's the crucial part. So therefore they said, no, we can't have that. We are saying that anybody who immediately after the mikvah, and that will be in the place where the mikveh is. No, we're not talking about somewhere, back home or anywhere else. Having a shower afterwards in the same place, Gozralem Tuma, they will become tomei, to avoid that. So there is this ruling. Just remember, please. Let's go back to our Gemara. The rule of 3 lug of water, drawn water, immediately after going to the immediately having this drawn water on top of an individual, they will become tomei once again. Now, with all that background, let's go to our Gemara. Daf Daled Amud Aleph, Va'omar Rav Yehuda Omar Rav. People got that? Yep. Omar Rav Yehuda Omar Rav. Chovius, have you got it? Just over halfway down the page. This was a barrel. And this is the last halacha on this subject before we go back to the next Mishnah, back to the Masechta that we're dealing with, Makkas. But there's one final statement here. Chovius Malaya Mayim. You had a barrel full of water. Okay? That's normal drawn water. And it fell into, in this occasion, it wasn't a mikveh, but it was equivalent to spring water, natural water, the Yam HaGodol. Yeah? The normally Yam HaGodol, it sounds like the Mediterranean, Yam HaGodol. So this barrel of water, huge barrel of water, fell into Yam HaGodol, fine, no problems. But Hatovel Shom, also lo tevila, someone who decided to use the Yam HaGodol, which is of course Toha, it's very much natural water, it's not drawn water. Somebody went to the mikveh at that spot. It sounded like the water probably came out this barrel now removed, very near where that barrel was. We say also lo tevila, why not? There is a concern lishlosha lugim shelo yehu b'mokem echad. It might have stayed in the Yam HaGodol. It depends how far out you are. It's not like a river where the water, it's running water. It's only a may. This water may have remained in one spot. Now we know, yes, it's connected to the Yam HaGodol. So min HaTorah, there's no problem. You can't disqualify the Yam HaGodol because there's some drawn water. It's already kosher as it is. Then we had this principle before we mentioned last week. Once you've got a kosher mikveh, you can't disqualify the mikveh, but we don't want people to go in drawn water directly. Midrabanon, otherwise people will start thinking, as we said before, that it's the drawn water which is useful, which is crucial, rather than the mikveh water. So someone went into the Yam HaGodol, the Mediterranean, just where that barrel of water emptied in this one spot. Okay? So we say such an individual, his tevilah doesn't help him. Why? We're not scared, there's a possibility, small as it might be, that he went into 3 lug of drawn water, albeit it's in a mikveh, or it's in this case, it's not mikveh, it's in the Yam HaGodol, but there's midrabanon, if someone goes into drawn water, they will not get purification. Says the Gemara, that was the statement of Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Rav. V'davka leyam hagodol. This will only be relevant if it's a Yam HaGodol, which may be quite calm, the water not moving much. The koi b'kaima, which could stay, not much movement. Avunara ba'alma, a normal river, which again, natural river, could be used for a mikveh purpose. If the barrel of water was emptied in a river, there's no chance it's going to remain in one place. Lo. No, the Mishnah says. Have a quick look at some of these Rashis. Hatovel Shom, 4 narrow lines up, but also mock him in that place where the water was emptied, where the barrel of water was. Lo also lo tevila shema, perhaps, says Rashi, 2 narrow lines up. Kol mayim shahoyu b'chovis, all the water was in that barrel. Omdim yachad, is remained in one place. It's only a possibility. V'shema bo ze rosho v'ruba b'mayim she'uvim. As we mentioned before, remember one of the decrees was going in mayim she'uvim, going in drawn water, would say that the person has that's not, as we said, good. He will become Tomei by doing that. Certainly would not get Tahara with me. It makes truma apostle, without getting too complicated here. The main point is we are scared there's a possibility he may just have gone in this drawn water. If he went into the drawn water, therefore, the would have nullified his going into the mikveh, the purification of the mikveh. You with me? Okay, back to our Gemara. Beginning of the line, Avonara ba'al malo. Says the Gemara, Tanya nami hochi. We've got a brisa saying the same thing. The chovius malay yain. This time it's wine. Now the same thing applies actually. Although we said before last week, it won't disqualify a mikveh, but by going in this drawn, this time it's not drawn, but it's drawn, it's wine. Anyone who went to the mikveh at that place, now this is a brisa talking even about wine, also lo tevila. Again, we are concerned that he may just have gone in the 3 lug of wine, and therefore, midrabanon, we do not say that a person has actually had a purification of going into a mikveh. That's what we're saying in this. Again, here, although there are a few words, it's not maim shuvim here, we know it's wine, but it's the same principle. In fact, some people take out these words, but the principle is the same. The principle is that if there's a concern that maybe a person went into this drawn water, 3 lug of drawn water, then their experience, the purification of the mikveh will not help him or her. Okay? And the Gemara says the same thing. V'chein kikar shel truma, person had a loaf of truma, shenofal shom, tome. As we said before, someone going into drawn water, not only they wouldn't become tahor, they become tome. We don't want people going into drawn water when they're trying to, as we said before, they actually become tome. The same thing happens with a loaf of this bread, which is truma. If it fell there, it will be tome. Why? My v'chein. What's this v'chein? And similarly, isn't that obvious? What's the difference? Whether it's true, whether it's a kikar or it's an individual who wants to become, we've said an individual will become tome. So I suppose with a loaf of truma would also become tome. Says the Gemara, you might think the person's going into the mikveh is tome, trying to purify himself, herself, to become tohar. There's a principle of a chazaka. A chazaka means the previous state that a person's in remains unless it's changed. That's a chazaka. Sometimes you use this in financial matters. There's a chazaka of ownership. The chazaka remains until things have changed. If we don't know what the situation is, we go back to previous chazaka, a previous state. Now, this person who's known to be tome, he's trying to purify himself. Maybe, unless you're certain, a person will retain their previous state. That's the point. In other words, we're not sure what happened to this water when it fell into this Yam HaGodol. Did it disperse or not? As there's doubt, maybe the reason is we're sticking with the original chazaka, which would mean this. If you had something which was tahar and you're unsure, maybe you should retain the previous chazaka. In the case of truma, if it was tahar, it shouldn't become tome. You see, it works both ways. Someone trying to become tahar, we're saying it doesn't work. We're saying something which is tahar would become tome going into these 3 lug of drawn water. Okay? That's what I might have thought. Maybe it depends on the previous state. If I would have only learnt the rule regarding someone trying to purify themselves, maybe it will be different. If something was tahor previously, it should retain the state of being tahor until proven differently. You with me? And as it's a doubt, maybe this water or the wine has spread. Says the Gemara, Hocha uki truma achazoka. Maybe in this instance, I would retain the previous state. That's why the Gemara said v'chein, to tell me it's not true. We are very strict about this 3 lug of water, which is drawn water. And even if there's doubt, to ensure that people are not using this drawn water in any way, even if there's doubt, we would take on the strict rule, which would mean either if they're trying to become tahor, they will not become tahor. If it was previously tahor, it will now become tomei. Are you with me? That's all because we're taking on this strict line when we're talking about drawn water, so that people should never get confused and think it's really the drawn water which is doing the job. After all, it looks, I wouldn't say looks, it's cleaner water than in those days the mikveh water, and people may make a mistake and think that's really what's doing the trick rather than going into the mikveh. They were very strict about the ruling that no, it's got to be in a kosher mikveh. That is what will purify the person. So therefore, they've got these 2 strict rules, and that, gentlemen, concludes that Gemara before we now move back into Makkas. So I say it was a bit of a venture moving away, but I think it was some useful bits we've got there. And thank you, Peter, for all the numbers and the crunching there. Good. Let us now move on to the next Mishnah. Before we do, Malcolm's waving his hands.
Okay, I have to just beg to ask
a question.
differ. Yeah, well, how likely is it that water in a water is not
dispersing?
Not dispersing, but I mean it's merged with other water.
You're quite right.
I mean, I understand oil spillage is a different matter, but and you know, even wine, which you can sort of tell because of its color, I suppose, coloring.
Yes. Well, no, what happens if it's white wine?
Yeah.
I mean, no, you're right. They do talk about this actually being white wine, because you're quite right. If it was red wine, you can see for yourself whether it's dispersed or not. You are right.
If you take a pond, I mean, a pond that has stagnant water.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I can see that that's, you know, potentially a problem. But
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And the concern here was, you're quite right, and that's why we see these strict rules that are applying here. There was the worry that people will move away and think, really, oh, it's not the mikveh that's doing the job. It's you know, clean water. Well, I'll have some clean water. I'll dispense with the. So therefore, even though you're quite right, there's a doubt, and let's look at, you know, probabilities, or you know, of this actually happening or not dispersing. Until you're certain, we will say no. At that spot, and that's why, notice, when we're talking about a river, there's no way that it would have remained in one place. So there's no concern at all.
But can one say, like, let's say using scientific methods?
Yes.
Could we not? Can one not?
You're right. If you can be, you're right. If you can be certain it's not there anymore, then yes, that will be all right. But if you're not, that's the point. And that's why I said to you, if it was, for example, red wine, then you could see for yourself it's dispersed or not. Yeah. I mean, you've got the color.
So is it?
If you knew for sure.
So is this only in a doubt situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And
so is there a halakha on that?
Yeah, that's what we're saying here.
I see. Okay. Yeah. But does it apply nowadays?
Yeah, unlikely now. It could do. I mean, you've got, first of all, actually using
I mean,
anything other than a mikveh, it's tricky to do that.
can I give an example? Can I give
go on.
Some beaches in Tel Aviv where there's lots of sewage coming? So if you have a certain amount of stuff pouring into the sea,
yes,
and it's very calm,
does
that
you
then
could have that.
does that then possibly
that would that would be the same thing. It's if you're unsure whether it's drawn water or something else in one place, although I'd like to think it's not
no.
the sewage in Tel Aviv beach or further north wouldn't be that bad. But no, that would be a practical type of case, unless you were certain. Unless you were certain, or unless there's certain movement of the sea, if it's extremely calm, that would be a practical example.
I was just wondering whether because you mentioned it's the Mediterranean, because that has a sort of different configuration from, let's say, an ocean, or because it doesn't have tides in the same way, and that sort of
of course you've got tides, but I suppose it's just trying to a comparison between a river, a moving river, fast moving river. It was just the two extremes really. But you're right, you could have had a pond, but it would have to be a pond which was natural water. But you could have that. Could have a natural from rainwater out in the open, and then other water, a spillage. So it is possible. So the point we're making here, unless you're certain, then as they say, when in doubt, leave it out, type of thing. Don't use, and the strict. We're taking these strict rules. Unless you've got certainty, that's really okay. Very good indeed. As we move on, so let's make a start, at least within not much time left. But let's have a look at the next Mishnah. This goes back to what we've been talking about, back to Eidim Zomimim, which we know. Eidim Zomimim, a couple of psukim we may have to look at. Let's just have a look at this. Me'idin oni blish ploni. Two people come and give testimony, and they say, Chayev lechavero mosayim zuz. Example is, he owes someone else 200 zuz. We were there when it took place. There's no documentation, but we're the two witnesses. But we can tell you where it took place, and the money passed hands, and he's got to pay it back. The nimtzu zomimim. They are found to be Eidim Zomimim. Now, do you remember the rule? How they found to be Eidim Zomimim? What they're not telling the truth. I mean, which they're liars. They're very. Remember, in fact, we had it mentioned in the Gemara, but not actually in the Mishnah. The Mishnah in Daf Hey. There's a very strict formula about Eidim Zomimim. Eidim Zomimim is not saying the event didn't take place. It's saying the people couldn't know about it because they were elsewhere. So you're saying it may well be he did borrow the 200 zuz. We don't know. We're not saying that it didn't happen. It's not as if somebody said there was it was 200 zuz and two other Eidim come along and say, no, it was 500 zuz. That's a contradiction between two pairs of witnesses. It's not a contradiction here. They're saying we saw it was a 200 zuz loan, and the second pair of Eidim come along and say, no, because you were with us somewhere else. You are not telling the truth because you weren't there. And under those circumstances, remember, that's the rule of Eidim Zomimim. And the rule of Eidim Zomimim is what they intended. They themselves have to make that up themselves. So if it's money, they would have to pay the money. If the ultimate, they said this fellow's a murderer, So they wanted him to be chayav. They wanted him to be chayav misa. Then that would, as we said before, rebounds back on them. Their words rebound back. It's very effective. The words that people have said, particularly in a Bezdin, their words trying to get this individual killed as a murderer will rebound back on them. Wanting this individual to pay money for a loan which didn't exist will rebound back on them. That's the point we made. Yeah. So what happens here? V'nimtzu zomi, back to the Mishnah. Lokin u'mashalmin. There are two things that happens. They get malchus, they get stripes, 39 max, depending on the doctor's permission, if they can take that number. But otherwise it should be 39. We've spoken about this before. It's up to 40. But not only that, why do they get malchus? I thought we said Edim Zomim, you do to them what they intended to do. And now this is the source. We're not familiar with this view. We're familiar with the second view coming up in a moment. Shelo Hashem, the posuk Hamavim Lidei Makkos, that brings the Makkos, Mavim Lidei Tashlumin. There are two separate psukim. Have a look, please, at the Rashi. Shelo Hashem, the name, when it says shame, it means a posuk. Hamachayvo Malchus Machayvo Tashlumin. Why? Malchus Mishum Lo Sa'aneh. Are we familiar with that word? Yes, from the Ten Commandments. Lo Sa'aneh V'reacho Eid Shoker. They have fallen foul of that posuk, Lo Sa'aneh V'reacho Eid Shoker. And as we know, when there's a negative with no other punishment mentioned around it, as opposed to, for example, a death penalty, then any negative, if the person was deliberate and there are witnesses and there was a warning, don't do this, because they would get malchus. So that's Losane V'reacho Eid Shoker is a posuk which tells me there is malchus. Wow. So they've lied in court, they get malchus for that. However, there's something else. I'm doing the Rashi 4 lines up. V'tashlumim mishum kasher zomam. Do you remember the posuk? Kasher zomam lasus la'ochiv. In Eidim Zomamim case. Only in the Eidim Zomamim case where then a second pair of Eidim say, you were with us. In the case of Eidim Zomamim, they have to make amends. They've got to pay up, or they get the punishment they wanted to inflict, if it's a punishment or if it's a payment. You with me? So this is the view of the Gemara, the Mishnah. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That's the view of Rabbi Meir. Okay? Not something we've seen before. So Rabbi Meir says there are two punishments. No. Kol ha-mishalem eino loka. Someone who pays does not get malchus. It's one or tzada. We can have a look at this Rashi, and then perhaps we'll stop. Kol ha-mishalem eino loka dichsiv. The posuk says, kedei rishos, a person should be punished according to their evil deed. Rish osoi in the singular. Says the Gemara, well, actually it's Rashi quoting this for us, 3 lines up. It's for his, it could be hers, but his misdeed in the singular. Mishum risho achas ato machayvo. From there you learn that there's always one punishment. There's never 2 punishments, one punishment. The iato machayvo mishtum shetei reshuyos. You don't pay for 2 evil. Although a person done one action, you don't get double pay or double punishments. So you only get one. Says Rashi, But which one is it? Again, Rab Meir says you get malchus for being a false witness. Don't be a false witness in court. You pay up the 200 zuz in this example because they wanted the individual to suffer and pay 200 zuz. So according to Meir, both things happen. According to Chomim, only one. You can only get one punishment. Says Rashi, Uba Meseches Ksubas, 2 lines up, Makshinon. We ask, how do you know which one of those two do you get? In the case of Eidim Zomimim, there are false witnesses, and there are also Eidim Zomimim. Eidim Zomimim means they get the same punishment they wanted to inflict. A false witness gets malchus. How do you know which one of those two to give them? Should they pay the money because that's what they wanted to inflict on this individual? Or should they get malchus for being a false witness? Says Rashi, Kol hazomimim lo yishalmu. Maybe all cases of Eidim Zomimim shouldn't pay, but they should just get malchus if you can only get one punishment. You with me? This is the question of the Chachomim. Answers the Gemara, Umeshaninon. The Torah has a whole parsha telling me va'asisem lo kasher zomam lasus la'ochiv. If we're going to always give the malchus, then that whole posuk is meaningless. So obviously, the fact that we have this posuk, says Rashi, 2 lines up, beferish ripsa Torah edim zomim v'letashlumin. There's a posuk specifically telling us that you do to these Eidim as they wanted to inflict on someone else. The Torah is telling me, I know there's only one punishment. In the case of Eidim Zomimim, it's the punishment or what they wanted to inflict overrides the malchus which they would have got for being false witnesses. Okay? We will stop there. The Mishnah continues. Are we okay with that? So according to Rab Meir, there are 2 rishoyos, if you like, 2 evil deeds they've done. Number 1, they're a false witness. That gets malchus. Number 2, they are Eidim Zomimim. In the particular case of Eidim Zomimim, they have to receive or give whatever they intended the other person to give, or the punishment they wanted the other individual to receive. Says the Chachomim, and we pass it like this, Chachomim, we've always seen this in the past. No, you do not give 2 punishments in this instance. So what will happen? You will give always the Eidim Zomimim punishment. Why? Because the Torah's got a whole parsha telling us that you do to them what they intended to do. If you're always going to give the malchus, that wouldn't always be true. So therefore, the Torah is telling us, yes, there's only one punishment. And 2, it is the punishment of Eidim Zomimim which takes priority. And that's what we've always seen in the past. We've always seen that we've never mentioned anything about the malchus, unless it was something which you couldn't actually inflict on them, then they will get malchus. Yeah, but otherwise not. So question for Peter.
It seems similar to an eye for an eye.
Yes. Now we need to be careful about that. Your Eidim Zomim is exactly that. What they intended the other individuals, how much suffering, but be very careful about an eye for an eye, because that is often misquoted and misunderstood. The eye for eye normally is monetary punishments. For example, if someone causes damage, for example, they remove the eye of an individual, then you do not take that other individual's eye out. There's monetary payment. And we've spoken about this before. There's a particular post which says you give to the other individual. We don't hand him an eye on a plate. Doesn't make sense. So what you do, it's money. And remember, we also said, if that's the case, why doesn't the Torah specifically say you make monetary compensation. Because the point is, if it will be monetary compensation, it will be like someone's car hitting someone else's car. You take it to the garage, you get it fixed up, and it's all over. That is not what this is meant to be. If someone's knocked someone's eye out, they're meant to feel. Yes, it's true, it's monetary compensation, but that's not enough. They've got to really feel what's happened to that other individual. It's not like, I've got the insurance claim, it's all made up and it's finished. It's not just an insurance claim, it's a feeling. That's why we have the words an eye for an eye in that instance. But you are quite right. Edim Zomim, there you are meant to make the individual feel the same way as the other individual felt. He thought he was going to have this massive bill, which wasn't true. Or he thought he was meant to be, going to be killed as a murderer. That's not true. That, as you said, you're quite right, rebounds on him. And that way it rebounds on him actually exactly the same way what he wanted to do or inflict on the other individual. So we pass.
It's not,
yeah,
so it's not exactly what he was going to. The infliction would be by the Besdin, wouldn't it? It's only so the Besdin doesn't mutilate people. And
no.
So it's not what he wants. It's what the Besdin.
No, there are two subjects going on here. We're talking about Edim Zomim. Edim Zomim, we look at what did you want to inflict on that other person, not about knocking out his eye.
But he could want to inflict whatever he wanted. It's only the punishment that the Besdin would give. The Besdin might do capital punishment or whatever punishment, or Malchus.
Yes.
But he can't, whatever the aid wishes, he's only getting the court to give an authorized punishment.
Yes. You see, there are two psukim here. There's the Edim Zomim, whatever was going to happen, money, right? There's another posuk which says an eye for an eye. That is talking about completely different. Yes.
But Edim Zomim can only inflict a court punishment.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the Besdin doesn't cut off hands and so on.
No. Because what do you mean? If that what would the example be where the Edim came to court and said that? You see,
I'm just saying
it's not really relevant. The Edim will come and say, what, this person is a murderer, the person is Chayv Malchus, the person's got a financial commitment, which he didn't have, the person maybe damaged someone's car, the person hit someone else and therefore should have but that would all be a monetary compensation. So they would never come and say that this person needs to have his hand cut off, because there isn't a concept.
No, the only punishments are Malchus.
Yes.
A death penalty or monetary.
Or money. They're three. That's right. So if one of those three, they would have to come and say, this is what was meant to happen to this individual. That would rebound on them. There's never any instance, cutting off arms. That's just, you see, even if they say that this individual, damaged someone's eye, then what are they trying to say? They're trying to say he would have to pay financial compensation. So the financial compensation will rebound on them. Yeah? Yeah, Malcolm.
I'm sorry, just a quick one on the false witness versus the Edim Zomim. So are there cases where a false witness isn't an Ed Zomim?
Yes.
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 Can you give one example of a false witness?
This person comes along and says he owes them, this £10,000 or whatever it is, and it's turned out to be a pack of lies. Not because the agent came and said you were with us. The fella's lying. It never happened.
Okay, so if he's a liar, so he's a liar.
They'd have to prove it. They'd prove it.
So if that's not an Ed Zomim, that's not an Ed Zomim.
No.
Okay, so what would be the penalty for that? What would be the penalty?
In that case, it would be Malchus on its own. Someone who's giving false testimony. That's Malchus.
So it is possible. So that the Bet-Din would be giving a Malchus in that case. So what happens if you have an Ed Zomim who says this guy is a false witness?
Oh, good one. Good. That's actually the next case in the Mishnah. So they come along and say that individual is high of Malchus. That's really what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they're found to be Edim Zomimim. Well, without looking at the Mishnah, you can work it out, can't you?
Yeah.
Let's just say a very quick, without looking at the Mishnah, your example, two Edim come along and say, we can have a vote on this. Two Edim, we'll close with this. Two Edim come along and say that Reuven is high of Malchus. He was a false witness. We were there in the court, and it was decided in the Bezdin this chap was a false witness. Therefore, he would have received Malchus. He didn't get it yet. Then two other witnesses come along and say, well, "What are you talking about? You were with us in Bournemouth. You could not have seen this court case that you say took place, and you say he was found to be a false witness because you weren't there." Right? So these people are found to be Edim Zomimim. What punishment will they get? And there are there's an A and a B, according to Rabbi Meir and according to the Chachomim. According to Rabbi Meir, they will get Malchus because they are false witnesses. I'm talking about the pair of Edim Zomimim. They will get another Malchus because that's what they wanted to inflict on someone else. They will get two sets of Malchus. That's in answer to your question. According to the Chachomim, you can only give one punishment. Which one do you take? You take the Edim Zomim. As it happens in this case, they're both Malchus. So they will get one set of Malchus. You with me? But more of that next week. So in answer to your question, the Chachomim would say you just get Malchus, but you only get one punishment. Yeah.
And is there no financial alternative?
No, unless there was a financial issue here. They said it was a £5,000 loan which never existed.
No, but if the person was the one that they was going to get in that didn't do it was going to get Malchus, he would have. Is there no alternative? You know,
there's no alternative. You can't give compensation instead of receiving the Malchus. No, if you hired Malchus, you'd get the Malchus.
Okay.
Okay. To be continued, and but no, keep thinking, and thank you very much indeed, everybody. Laurie, you're well. Laurie's got a question there, or just thumbs up to say good night.
It was just a thumbs up actually, and
oh, good. Okay, good.
I want to thank Peter for the spreadsheet as well, which I will play with all night long. Thank you.
Oh, good, Simon. Something to look forward to. Thank you very much.
First time I received a spreadsheet after a Shiur. Magnificent. Thank you.
Oh, excellent stuff there. Well done. Let's just say we'll hear a bit of Peter singing now. Let me get my tin, and then we will go. Yes, running late. Kuf Chof Aleph. Oh, whoa. Very quick off the mark there. But no translation. Can we have the A, please?
We want the translation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Scrolling up.
Okay.
Thank you. Shiur Lama Alois.
Adonai shomerecho, Adonai tilcho, Yom HaShemesh lo yakeko, Yoreach Elaylo, Adonai yishmo, Ekol ra yishmo, Adonai
Lord,
Yishmor
Achenen kol beis Yisrael, hanusunin b'tzorah b'shivya, va'omdim bein ba'yom u'bein ba'yabosha, hamokim mirachim alehem v'yotzei mitzorah lirvocha, u'me'afele la'ola u'mishibud ligula, hashto ba'agola v'zman koriv, v'noma amen. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's Hashem look forward to a Chodesh Tov coming up, let's hope. And say Besuras Tovus, as man of, Tfilis, Yeshuas, Refuos, and good health and good news. Let's hope, immense Hashem. Thank you very much indeed. Peter, thank you.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you.